Oh, look at that fancy text. That is incredibly fancy text that I could not read. I know it's a witness testimony, but still. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remembered it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. How did you bring that into the courtroom, sir? Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question if I may. Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could these two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend. Have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What? What do you mean? The actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Look at that, they actually brought the entire bus in here. How did they manage to fit it through the door? So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Oh wait, the door is huge. Look at how big that door is. That makes a lot more sense now. I thought it was people size. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a viewing of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. How exactly it's being shoved into the court record, I have no idea. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing that it's here. Which I will be doing right now. Give me a second. Examine. Look at that. We can examine this entire omnibus in all of its glory. Phoenix Wright. Wait, is that really what it says in the back? Phoenix Wright omnibus? There's no way. There's no way. Hang on. What do we say about this? No, I tried. Okay. Anyways, so there's a skylight up here. You can certainly see the carriage inside the carriage through the opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Well, I can't really see into it. Looks like the driver was... Oh. Can I actually not view this? Okay, this is just the indents of the driver. This is probably like a really old omnibus, to say the least. We can't check under it. Can we check inside? Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh. The scene of a murder. It's horrible. Alright. So what do you have inside here? We have a notice. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzling with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. So funny enough, just kind of like as a comparison, when my friend and I went over to Japan a few years back, we actually were there probably right before the Olympics were supposed to happen. So while we were walking around, we did get to see the big dome that they were building specifically for the Olympics. Whether or not that was finished by the time they had to push it back, I have no idea. But yeah, anyways, blood spot right here. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's blood, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Alright, so is there anything on the other side? I mean, there's this. The seat has a handle, it seems. Ooh! Look at that. Look at all these neat trinkets. Okay, no, it did click it. Okay. This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to store their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. Ah, you don't know. It might be. Okay, so that's probably for the exposition as well. That's the skylight. Which I don't know if they say anything different. Yep. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view in the cabin from the roof deck. There doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So I suppose it can't be open from inside the cabin at least. And I'm pretty sure That's all that we can see for now. If there's anything else, I think they'll probably make mention of it. Oh, there's only one door. There is only one door. Are the wheels broken? Does not look like it. I'm really mad that I can't read that. Yeah, I think that's it for this carriage. Wait a minute, hang on. While I'm in the spree of looking at things, I was gonna look at this as well. Is there anything to look inside, or is it just the... It makes it feel like there should be something else on here. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day of London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGill right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with the coin in his right hand a little earlier. Pity. If only he had been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Yep, that it would be. But no, I don't see anything different from these gloves. This is a picture straight into the gut, mind you. And this is the autopsy report. 10 to 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying on an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from trauma. So it wasn't instant. That much we know of. Let us continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright. My first cross-examination in a British courtroom. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus! That was a really cool cross-examination. Transition. Alright, so I completely forgot what all these witnesses say, so you're gonna have to give me a moment. Well, it was the last run of the night. They sat next to each other. You're the one that makes it seem like you've seen both of them next to each other, so let's go ahead and press that. And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats. I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. How can you be so sure? Well, how could I put it politely? Mr. McGilden is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There is no room for doubt here. Ugh, I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accursed just reached over and plunged the knife. Hold it! You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Where'd you get that cane? Or are fair dinkum hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. Or we got his backup. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail if that's... Oh, no. My lord! Juror number 3. What is the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other than that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That is my opinion on the matter, anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What is happening here? Let me see. Ah yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury gives their verdicts. With fire? Apparently yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean? Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. So yeah, right now it seems like it's preceding kind of like a normal Ace Attorney game. Of course, there's multiple witnesses, which all of the other Ace Attorney games haven't done, except Phoenix Wright versus Layton, but that's beside the point. But the way that they're kind of perceiving jurors in this game is going to be shown by those scales. Based on what the juror is feeling, they can either have black for guilty or white for not guilty. And this can kind of change throughout the course, or depending on what you present. I don't know how much scripted it is, but that's basically the point. I think in Ace Attorney 4, Apollo Justice, they tried to introduce some form of like jury or juror implement in the very last case, but it's completely different. This is not how jurors work in real life. I don't really know how they work. I just know that like everyone, the judge, everyone is there to observe the evidence, listen to the testimonies, and based off of like as much logical reasoning from those jurors who are completely impartial to the case and not related to the case whatsoever, they have a vote on whether or not is guilty or not guilty. Anyways, hold it. Going on, moving forth. He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right. I was up on the roof seats. I remembered seeing the little gent sitting next to the fella that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see? So I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly. That huge, great knife. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced of my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGill is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Yeah, evidence, I wish. Mr. First. Oh, yes. Yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please, no. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
Noodle hands. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like a Mason.
Objection!
Wait, that's what you sound like? Yo! I like both of his voices in Japanese and in English. Help me. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Yay, I can finally look at the knife now. Never mind, the jury is voting for guilty again. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2, go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you on about? Dispose of the rubbish. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Oh dear. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in the position to draw the only logical conclusion. It's getting closer. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I'll just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright. I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Alright, well, hang on first. I have a knife. I have the knife. I have the knife. I have the knife. I wanna see the knife. Do not present. Do not accidentally present. Where is the giant M? Ah, it does have an M. But it could be a W. It could be a W, you know? It's probably just an M. And it's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I should think. What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, you know, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. But what am I sure of is that this is an M. Oh. Well, that idea was quickly quashed. Alright, so can I open this thing? That part is the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, sorry, yes. I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense of delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Alright. So we can't see inside of the sheath. It's very well ordinated, and that's very much blood. Ugh, that looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood. The victims. Ugh. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm just finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Okay, so I don't really see anything that's going to help us. Oh man. Oh, that's not good. The memories of this case is just slipping away. And I hate it. Do I need to press every statement? Because I know Ace Attorney games like doing that. Alright, so when it happened, the only two people in the enclosed cabin were the victim and the defendant. And, so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. So help me, God. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilda really innocent? Or could it be? But before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witness statements again. A little more carefully this time. Okay, so it probably does want me to go through all of them. Man!
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes. Ever so cold it was, sir. For freezing, in fact. And you've had 4 passengers on board at the time. Is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though, no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that, no. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening, that last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. Okay, so I already pressed you guys. I'll press you again.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapse on the floor he was. And by the passenger, obviously you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had the knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously you are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5? Do I take it that you, too, as the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little longer. Gee up now, Silverblaze! The finish is in sight! Oh, it's getting closer. Beppo's a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. He looks like he's about to pass out. Someone please give him a blanket. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that the 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear? What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand.
Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know.
Then, pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning?
Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated to the city, you know. This put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such fine young gentlemen would have had it in him to take another man's life.
Yeah, and here comes all the comments. Oh wait, I can actually speak these out for once. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely.
Mother, maybe go to the McGilded Public Library later and borrow some more books.
Sorry, I speak like I have that child speaking like that because one of my friends, Mikado, kind of like does that every time when he's trying to replicate that little cheetah meme.
Mother, the ragoon. Please, may I have some ragoon? Mother, the ragoon.
How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What?
Stone the crows!
McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak.
I've never heard any mention of that before.
Your facilities haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. Or faculties. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It'll come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the first repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, his pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist, pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it.
Hold it!
If I might add something briefly, Miss Susato? You claim that the victim has been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where is the evidence to support your claim? Oh, I just realized you brought in a bottle of wine. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Aha, there it is! Lord Von Zeke's hallowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. And the chalice, thank you very much. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum, and the accursed made quite certain he had ample recompense.
Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes.
Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused.
And of such a pretty little bark, too. What a scoundrel! Still, maybe it's all for the best.
Well, wait a minute! Let's think about this a little bit more before—
I don't stand for nonsense!
Oh dear. And thus has the guilty fires erupted on this hallowed grounds known as the courtroom. Anyways, that's it for whatever episode this is. Yeah, this is gonna be where I'm gonna stop off. So sorry. Have fun with this. Oh god, I'm not prepared for this case at all. Alright, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This is Zora signing out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Assuming Yurasaki is alive, that is.